What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to Black Desert. So today we're doing a special video. A lot of you guys have been asking me this, and I figured now would be a good time because there's about like 8 days or 7 days when you guys see this. 7 days left on the Armstrong and skill and add-on guide. So basically I wanted to show you what I have and what I'm using and why. So I don't really know how I should go about making this video, but I would say this is more of a diary than a build video, so don't take it like you should follow these steps exactly. This is just kind of what I do. If you use something and it works fine, I would just say stick with it. And especially with this game, it's a little bit harder to make build videos because everyone progresses at their own pace. My gear is probably different from your gear. So, I mean, in terms of enchantment level. So, just keep that in mind. This is not really a build video. It's just more of a diary. And, yeah, just, we'll show you. So, in terms of gear, first we'll go over to gear, crystals, skills, and then add-ons and all that stuff. So, there's like 7 days. So if you watch this, you have, as long as you're playing, I think you have like a week left to test everything. So, yeah, I know not everyone is going to have the same gear as I do, and I'm not even fully soft capped, but it's what I have, and if I could be, I would, but RNG is not the greatest. So, let's start off with the weapons, I guess, because Zarka is considered one of the best in slot ones. However, recently they came out with a new weapon called the Ofen Tet, I think. Whatever. However, it is new. It came out like 2 weeks ago, so not many people have it, and if they did, they probably wouldn't sell it. So, I mean, like, there's a +7 here that got pre-ordered for 2.5 bill, which is a lot. So the difference between this and a Zarka would be you get 3 more sheet AP versus, and then you lose a little bit of accuracy. There are none on the market I can really compare it to, but what I can tell you is you lose a little bit of accuracy, about like 20-ish on the Ofen Tet one. However, you get 3 more AP, and then on the item effect, you get critical, but you lose the attack speed. So let's see. I know this isn't a really good comparison because that one's +7 and mine is Tet, but it's the only ones I can look at the market for. But anyway, besides what I just said, 3 AP, lose accuracy, or more accuracy, less AP, and yeah, you lose 1 attack speed level, but you gain 2 crit. And that's pretty much it. There is a pen one. There hasn't been any sold, but they kind of have it. And the species AP is basically the same. Extra AP against monsters. Pretty much the same. If I had a pen one, it would be exactly, I kind of looked at it over again. But that's about it. Alright, so next, Dandelion. Obviously best in slot for Awakening weapon. Doesn't matter what class you are. You should probably go for it eventually. A lot of people have been asking me whether it's okay to go for like the blue one, or the blue gold version. Yeah, just know that if you go for the blue and gold version, eventually when you do get a Dandelion, you're most likely going to sell it back to the market. You're going to lose a little bit of money doing that, but I mean, it's not bad. Basically, Tet blue one is the same as a Dandelion. So it's like the blue one is 1 tier under, basically. So this is what you want to go for. It doesn't matter what class you are. And same with Zarka. I mean, all the weapons are basically the same. I do switch up between Kudum and Nuver. Nuver for PvP, Kudum for PvE, so grinding, and then like open world stuff if I get into like a fight or something. And yeah, so those have been the weapons. We'll go over accessories last. What I've been also asked is, what order should you go about like getting your boss gear? So this is assuming you already have like other gear and you're just now transitioning into boss gear. I would say Beg's Gloves is #1 priority, and then Uragons or Dim Tree is what you would want to go for second, and whichever one you get for obviously whichever one you get first is whatever you're gonna get first. So the way that's determined is most likely you're going to be getting your gear from the night vendor, or you're going to be setting up by a high pre-order from the market. But I would say most people get their gear from the night vendor and just enhance it at their own time. So if that's the case, whatever the night vendor gives you, you're getting first, and eventually you'll get all the pieces. However, if you are saving up for the market, I think Beg's Gloves is #1 priority. Uragons and Dim Tree are second, but I think Uragons is slightly higher. But if you want more DP, I think Dim Tree would be a better choice. But overall, ultimately, either one is okay. And then finally, the last piece of boss gear or boss armor you would want to be going for is the helmet. And Griffin versus Gaiath, as of right now, ooh, we got a nice one. Griffin versus Gaiath doesn't matter. They're both the same stats. The difference is you get 100 AP, or not, 100 HP versus 5 resistances, and whichever one you get first doesn't matter. I personally have tested both of them. If you're going to get one-shotted by someone, that 5 resistance or 100 HP won't save you that much. So, doesn't matter. Let's open this box real quick. Let's tin foil it and open at 22. Alright, we got a tongue grad. Sweet. Alright, so now we're going into accessories. I have actually tested this a little bit, but however, if you're watching this like 6 months down the line from now, this may not be accurate. However, in terms of price for AP, you're going to want to go for the the rings first. And so like, this is the same thing as a tri-crescent. You get it for level 61. So if you're just like grinding, you'll get it eventually. So this is like 1.2 billion off the market. If you're crafting it yourself, it's probably going to be a little bit more. Unless you get RNG carried and just one tap it, then it's probably like half the cost of it. However, most people will not one tap it, and it's going to cost you, I would say, about like double, maybe 2 bill-ish. So for 14 AP, that's pretty solid. This is also 14 AP. The belt is except it's 1.8 billion. I personally pre-ordered mine for 2.1, and that was also a while back. So the next thing you want to go for after rings is probably the necklace. If you can get an ogre, that's #1 priority. Something you should be going for in the current meta. Current meta is like full AP. I have a Sissel because I can't get an ogre, and I failed like 10 duo attempts. You guys have seen it in my videos, so it's just unlucky. I'm not using this because I want to. It's because I can't get an ogre. So that's one second. It's also really cheap, so if you're on a budget, I mean, you get the same gear score. It's just you get less AP, but more DP. Then the belt, and then the earrings. Now, the earrings is something I am not done with. It is also one of the most, like, changeable ones, because you can get coral earrings, and those give accuracy, but what I really want to be going for is tongue grad earrings. Even if I got a duo, that would boost my overall gear score. So like a duo one would be 11 AP. It's also the best earring for AP, but accuracy is red coral. So basically how you build is how you're going to want it. If you want full AP, tongue grad. If you want accuracy, then you want to go red corals. And yeah, so that's basically gear. And let's go over crystals now. This is something, like, my crystals aren't complete because, well, obviously just RNG is RNG. But I can tell you what I'm going to be going for in the future. So let's start off with our main hand. Right here, I have a Bon Carme and their RBF Power Crystal. When I'm fully done, I'm going to have 2 Bon Carmes. The reason why we want that is because the crit hit. If you're playing a Dark Knight, you know that crit is very important, especially if you're Awakened. It increases the damage and just overall everything. So once you're Awakened, your abilities have 100% crit, so I think it increases the damage. And if you don't have that, AP is also good. RBF power ones are fine. One thing I've also been testing was the Black Magic Crystal Precisions. I'll just show you right now. I don't think there are any on the market, but if there are, I can just show you. This one, ignore all resist and 8 accuracy. If you're on a budget, this is also a good crystal. If you're not on a budget, then you probably want to go for the Bon Carmes or the Red Battlefield Power ones. So yeah, you get RBF ones by doing RBF turning into seals and combining it with the regular ones. So yeah, Dandelion doesn't have it. And Nuver and Kudum. What I have is the increased critical hit damage by 10%. Now, the reason why we have critical hit damage instead of like Awakened crystals is because when we're Awakened, our skills are 100% crit. So if everything is critting, just increase the damage and you do more damage. However, they're kind of contested on the market, so like they're most likely sold out. They're not hard to get, you just have to be at the market at the right time. But I mean, I think this is personally better if you want higher damage. However, on my Kudum, which is when I'm PvEing, I have the extra 150 health just because, I mean, the health is not bad either. Either one is fine, but if you want PvP damage, then critical hit damage is the way to go. But if you're PvEing, then usually I don't think anything will one-shot you if your health is above 3,000. So, I mean, it's just nice to have it, but either way, if you're over 230 AP, you most likely can kill every mob except like the super high-end group content ones. And yeah, so up to you. Ultimately, I just chose the damage because I want to output more damage. Gloves. When I'm done, I'd have 2 Jin Vipers. I only have 1 right now because I can't get one. RNG. So that's just best in slot. It doesn't matter what class you're playing. You most likely want to go double Jin Vipers. So only have 1 at the moment. Your armor, if you have 2 crystals, this is actually a little bit different. You could build it however you want to. I personally, when I'm finished, I'm going to have 2 Jin Kobes because they give a little bit less health than the bonds. However, they increase your damage reduction. So DR is a little bit more valuable to me than the extra health. Otherwise, I'd be using a Gaiath Helm. So right now, I have 1 Bond and 1 Jin, but when I finish, it's going to be double Jins. So however you want to build it is ultimately up to you, but that's what I'm doing. Griffin, I have just the plus 20 evasion ones. The ones you want are the ones that give the maximum health, I believe. Where is it? Actually, it's not under there. Helmet. The Harpias, the ones that get, where is it? Hold on. Yeah, okay, so you're going to want the one that gives maximum evasion, which is the Jins. You get 50 HP and HP recovery. HP recovery is kind of irrelevant, so whatever. But this is basically the same thing I'm using, except it gives an additional 50 HP. The other ones you see on the market, they give 12 evasion instead of 20. I mean, evasion is, it's not super important right now in the current meta, but you never know when it could change again. So, if anything, I'm just going to keep the max evasion and just get the plus 50. It just hasn't been a high priority for me. I've been trying to get other stuff first. But I do personally believe the Jin Harpias are the best ones that most people will be going for. Now, in terms of Uragaan shoes, versus Muskins, Uragons for like, I think there's 16 classes out right now. I would say about like for 14 out of 16 classes, Uragons are just going to be straight up better. The other two are like Ninja, Kuno, because those already have a high base evasion. So that gives just more if you want to stack it and play like a special type build. But other than that, right now I am running one red battlefield crystal for the resistances and one black magic Hystria one. For Hystria, I think the crystal we would be going for is, let me see. If you look at all three of them, ultimately it doesn't matter. I think the Jin ones are probably the ones you want to go for as well. What you're really going for is the maximum stamina. The weight limit is just kind of irrelevant. I mean, it's nice to have, but it's not as important, so you want maximum stamina. However, the Jin crystals for your shoes are low priority. You should be getting the other ones first. So those have been my crystals. In terms of food rotation, this is what I go with. Kama Sylvia meal, the Night Combat's ration, and then the King of Jungle Hamburg. I have been testing it between the other ones, like the Kron meal. Well, Kron meal, this one is for like PvE, PvP-ish, and this one is life skilling. Well, no, this is grinding, and then this one is life skilling. So if I have like a node war or something coming up, I usually prepare these in advance, but if I don't and I'm like something's happened, I'll just use the Kron food and it's fine, plus villas. And in terms of the Alchemy Stone, what I am going for in the near future, just because I don't have enough money for it, but I would be going for a sharp one, sharp Alchemy Stone of Destruction, and for life skilling, I'd be going for a sharp, just basically the yellow versions of it. They all pre-order for like 1 billion or higher. But in the meantime, since I don't have it, just the disposable ones that you could just buy off the market are good enough. Alchemy Stones are not the highest on my priority list, but if I can get them, that's cool, and they'll just happen eventually. So Renown Score, this is what I have. It's basically, it takes your Awakened plus DP, that's how you get your Renown Score. There is a calculation you can read off on the site, but basically it's Awaken plus DP and gives you your Renown Score. The +1 is when you get Amity from various NPCs in the area. So like if you're in Velia, or all this counts as Balanos, Heidel counts as Serendia, Medea. I think Altanova is considered Medea, and then anything desert area is Valencia. Calpion area. I have something in here. Okay. And then Grana, obviously. So, that's basically all my gear and all of my crystals. I don't think I left off anything. Potions. PvP potions. Foods. Alright, so now let's go over to skills. This one might be a little bit changed. Most of these are just on my bars for the cooldown. The ones I actually hit off my skill bar are Wheel of Fortune, sometimes Lunacy. I don't really use Airstrike off of it. I can just hit WF, and that's also fine. Wrath of Vidir, I just hit that on because it's once every like 30 seconds. Nocturne, I don't use. I just hit the keybind, or not keybind, but I like quick slotted it. I don't have anything set on these three. I know the keys for it in general. So let's start off with Unawakened, because I assume if you are watching this video, it's because you are like either you barely got awakened or something. So yeah, you're gonna want to max out basically everything here. Chain Dusk is very important. It's your mobility. I've been playing around with this, but I realized I haven't really used these too much. These are kind of good, but once you get to Awakening, you won't really be using many of your non-awakened skills much anymore. So what I maxed out was Airstrike. It's not... Okay, let's go into order of importance, actually. Wheel of Fortune, very important. You should get it as soon as possible. It's one of the later skills you get. I don't remember what level. I think like 50-ish or something. But that's a really high priority skill you should get. Lunacy of Badir is also one because you get super armor. And basically, super armors with the recent changes. This is after the May 16th patch. So this is what I have been doing. Basically anything with super armors is good. And I don't know if that's going to change in the future, but that's how I have mine set up right now. Wheel of Fortune, Lunacy of Badir, Nocturne. Nocturne is basically like if you're doing this and you want to blink up and then just hit him in the back. And then you E up. Basically, just do that. And so yeah. Other than that, I don't really use many other ones. I have Corrupt Ground mostly because I've been switching this out. So previously, before all the nerfs, before May 16, I used Shadow Strike. However, this one just doesn't have super armor anymore. I mean, even with the hit damage plus critical hit rate, I personally found that it did like no damage to people. So Wrath of Badir, it's a once every 30 seconds one versus once every 15 seconds. This isn't going to be like your good ones. You just use them when it's off cooldown. But I switched to Wrath of Badir because super armor, once again, good. And it's a once every 30 seconds one, so if you shift X, it just does a huge explosion. And then you can follow that up with the slash. I'll just use numbers instead of, like, if I say up or WF, I don't know if you guys will know what that means, so just look at the numbers right here. I'll just basically show you. So 8, 7, if you're doing that combo. So I also, after that, after the priority ones, I was thinking about going with Slanted Balance next, because I sometimes hit like down left mouse off of my Unawakened, but I decided recently to switch up to the Wrath of Badir, and I didn't have both of them, so I had to take out some points into that and put it in here. Is it worth getting absolutes? I mean, if you have enough points, it's always worth it, but if you don't have enough points, then it's not a big deal. You aren't going to be like spamming these anyway. So next ability, we have Obsidian Blaze. It's just straight up the better one. It gives super armor. That's why we chose it. We're not really doing it because of the damage. And Obsidian Blaze is Shift Z. I don't really use it that much. I just kind of have it. So in case I actually hit all of my like 10 skills on cooldown and that one's up, and you use it. Otherwise, I don't use it. Let's go to Awakened. You basically want to get everything except Touch of Exploitation. And you get these at a very specific level, like 56, 57, 58, and then like 60. I think that's how the order of all of these go. So whenever you get them, just get them. Like if you're 56, just get everything you can. 57, so on. I personally have all of these. I know some people don't choose the Grip of Grudge. They also don't choose Soul Snatch or Clutch of Despair. I personally like Grip of Grudge because if I'm on my Awakened, and let's say I'm low on mana or something, I just Shift F, and then if I were to actually hit something, that would give me MP back as well. And Soul Snatch is kind of like if you're blocking and you do that, you just get a free attack on that one. But I mean, I understand it's not like a super high priority, but if you get it, you can always just do an extra attack. Spirit Legacy, if you're PvEing, this is most likely going to be your main spammable. You're going to do like a combination of like, you would ultimately start off with your E, which is your buff up, and then they nerfed Seed of Catastrophe actually with the patch recently. So it's not as good as it was before, but it still does a stiffness on good hits, whatever that means actually. But like you would open with a Seed of Catastrophe, and then you can like dash in and then bomb them. But after the recent patch, I did a few RBFs. DK's got nerfed actually, but I mean, whatever. Every class got nerfed except Witch and Wizard. They're still pretty stupid strong. So this was a big one. And then you do Shattering Darkness whenever you can. So, yeah, with that said, Trap of Vidir is more of like your disengage. So, like, if someone's like following you, you just like go back and then you do that. So, 8, and then target. Alright, so basically those have been all my skills. Let's see what we can go after next. Keep in mind, before I show you my add-ons, this is what I use. If you found something better, you should probably use that. So yeah, this is what I use. A lot of people have been asking me. The one you could change here if you don't like PvPing is you could change this to a crit hit rate plus 20%. I personally have found that the movement speed or the instantly reduce the MP, these bottom three are kind of irrelevant, and you're gonna have this one on the second bar, so that leaves you with either PvP attack or crit. If you don't like PvPing, you can increase it, or you can increase the crit one. And once again, same with this one, Lunacy of Vidir. These are gonna be your two. Well, these three I personally use a lot from my Unawakened, so that's why I built mine separately. So this is what I have. If you want to take a screenshot, you can take a look at it right now. And then obviously these are all the Awakens. I think you get one at 56, 58, and 60. I don't remember what level you get these at. But yeah, this is what I use. And if you want to screenshot it, I'll give you a few seconds before I close it, and we're good. All right, so now that you guys have seen my abilities, if you have any questions, definitely leave it in the comments. Let me know. Or if you have something even better, feel free to let me know as well. I still enjoy learning new things every day in this game. But for all the people who are wondering just what my build was like, all my crystals and everything, and that's basically it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later.